Well, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are the Mighty Guru Yogurt. Oh yes, we are. Well now, we are no longer in Gdansk. We had 2 days in Gdansk. It was interesting enough, but challenging as well. We then, this morning, went out to pick up the next rented motorcycle. You will remember that we had planned to do this morning, and we suggested you might want to have a guess as to which motorcycle we were renting. Well, we had limited choice because we'd left the booking so late. But in any event, we've picked up the motorcycle and we'll have a look at it in a minute. In the meantime, we've arrived at the campsite. The tent is up, as you can see, and the Murgatroyd is having a well-earned relax on the grass. Okay, so what did we get? Well, it's got very big panniers, as you can see. And with a cylinder head like that, well, it's got to be a BMW, isn't it? And indeed it is, look. But which one? You'll remember that last week we had the F650 GS, not this week. And there we are. It's an R1200 GS. We've ridden it for about 3 hours this afternoon. It's done everything I expected it to do in exactly the same way that I would expect it to be done. And no real complaints as of yet. However, now that we're ensconced at the campsite, I'm going out for a couple of hours ride to see what it can really do. Well now, this is the campsite that we stayed at last night. It was very pleasant. And now we are heading away from the coast and inland to another campsite about an hour.
Turn right.
Oh, shut up, Satnav. About an hour from where we need to be in the morning to drop off the motorcycle. Murgatroyd's just been to pay, and now she's going to clamber on the back of the bike. Yep. All right. Okay. Good. Off we go then. Wave.
In 200 meters, turn left onto Wojska Polskiego, Droga Wojowiczka, 215.
Well now, as soon as we get on the open road, I will have a great deal to say about the last day or two, and even more to say about this pretty incredible motorcycle. But before anything else, I'm going to turn that stupid sat-nav voice off. There we go, let's shut that up. Right then, so we picked up the motorcycle on Tuesday and rode out of Gdansk. I have never seen such utter traffic chaos anywhere, not even in London. What should have taken us about 30 minutes took about 2 hours. It was literally bumper to bumper all the way through. With this motorcycle being so broad, of course, especially with the big boxes on the back, filtering was really kept to a minimum. I did it where it was possible to do so, but mostly it was not. We could not work out why it was so busy, and as we rode northwards out of Gdansk up to the coast, it was just thronged, absolutely appalling. we've worked it out now. So Poland's a pretty big country. It's the height of the summer holidays. Poland only has a short coastline, unlike in the UK, where you have so much choice of coastline, and depending on where you are in the UK, most of it within 100 miles or so. It's different here, and it seems that every man and his wife and dog and children jump in the car in the last week of August and head for the beach. It is absolutely packed. We rode up through coastal town after coastal town, and the story was the same all the way. Everything was just taking too long, which is why we have today decided to head back inland in the hope that it will be quieter. We will see. So the holiday is now reaching its end. We've got the motorcycle for today. We're taking it back in the morning at around about 10 o'clock. And then we are jumping on the bus back into Gdansk. Tonight will be our last night of camping. We've got a hotel booked in the middle of Gdansk for tomorrow night. And then on Saturday we jump on the train to the airport. And at around about 4 o'clock we fly back to Edinburgh. And we then drive from Edinburgh back to Cumbria, to the hotel where I'm doing some work currently, because I'm going to work on the Sunday. All in all, it's been an interesting trip. I've certainly enjoyed the 2 motorcycles that I've ridden, and regular viewers will remember my excitement at the BMW F650 GS. I was so excited by it that I was saying that I was going to buy one. Benjamin, my eldest son, did ask the question, will riding the R1200 GS change your mind about that? And will you have to increase your bike budget for next year? And I wondered about that myself. To begin with, I didn't think so. I was certainly very impressed with the machine. I mean, I can see why they're so popular. It is unlike the Triumph Tiger 1200 Rally Pro that we rented on Gran Canaria, which, as you'll remember, I found really unwieldy, top-heavy, unbalanced, particularly at low speeds through heavy traffic. I was continually in terror of dropping the damn thing. Haven't felt that way once with this. It's much more finely balanced, and everything about it is just good. And that's what I was thinking until I went out on my own with the bike unloaded, and rather than having it in the road mode, I put it in dynamic mode. It just turns into an absolute beast. It's almost like a totally different bike that thinks it's a sports bike. I was dead impressed. Initially, when I'd just been riding it in road mode, I thought it was a bit dull and a bit flat. I mean, yeah, absolutely supremely competent and capable, but almost completely lacking in any kind of character or personality. Putting it in dynamic mode completely changed my mind about that. And so I'm reappraising my choice of future bike. I think what this machine has done is it has convinced me that I do in fact want an adventure bike, and I probably want one with a larger engine capacity and more power than the F650. There is, however, no way that I'm paying 9 or 10 grand for a used 2016 RS 1200 GS. I'm just not paying that sort of money. I've always been fiercely critical of BMW's pricing policy. I think it's a strategy that's ultimately doomed, particularly in the light of the leaps forward, the massive leaps forward being made in the field of Chinese motorcycle manufacture. And so last night, over a beer or two, alright, okay, over a beer or 5, I started wondering about a Vosges 900 DSX. Now, I was considering one of those earlier in the year. I think I've just missed my turning there. Yes, I have. Okay, it's okay. We're rerouted. That's me too busy talking. So yeah, absolutely love this bike. Not going to pay 9 or 10 grand for one. Vosges 900 DSX is a bike I need to now set up a test drive for. And conveniently enough, the motorcycle shop in Barrow, not far from where we live, is doing test rides of the DSX. So I'm going to get one arranged as soon as we get back. If I'm impressed with that motorcycle, I think that's going to be the one that I will go for. And I mean, there aren't any second-hand ones on the market yet, but there will be by the time I've got the requisite amount of money left. Although I am considering just working really, really hard for the next 6 months and saving up the 8.5 grand that I would need to just buy a new one. And that's quite an exciting prospect in a number of ways. I've never owned a bike from new, so it's worth considering anyway. So back to this motorcycle. It's currently in road mode. I'm in 4th gear. I'll close the throttle, I'll open it up again, and we'll have an accelerate. So it's pulling away really, really well even in 4th gear from a closed throttle, and that's in road mode. A few reflections on riding in Poland then. Now, the first one is the speed limits appear to be very, very low. I mean, on roads like these, it tends to be 70 kilometers per hour. Well, that's scarcely 40 miles an hour, isn't it? It's just like, why so slow? I just don't get it. Regular viewers will remember how appalled I was by the standards of driving in the Czech Republic, and I've got to say they're only slightly better here. Tailgating still seems to be normal, and people are all over the roads, you know. It's really quite frightening. Yeah, so here 40 kilometers an hour, that's like 25 I think, isn't it? Anyway, it just seems really, really slow. But I don't know, maybe there's a reason for it. Alright, so we're turning here, I believe. Oh no, maybe not here. But soon. I'm going to have to shut up for a minute now so I can concentrate. 160 metres. This will be the one. Yeah, there's a marked contrast here. I mean, in the seaside towns, the ones directly on the beach, they're just so busy, so crowded. Out here, really quite quiet. It has to be said then that this motorcycle, even though it's a rental bike and has obviously been not treated with the same due care and attention that you would treat your own motorcycle with, and in spite of the fact that it's done nearly 100,000 miles in its 9 years of life, it still pulls really, really strongly, and it does everything that you want it to do. It's just hellishly expensive. So, would I buy one? Not a chance. The point being, I can get just as much motorcycle made in a Chinese factory, where they also incidentally make engines for GS's for half the money. And I really am thinking that that is now the way forward. Well, this is all very lovely, isn't it? We are heading into what is called a national park, which apparently is a very extensive forest with a big river running through it. On reflection then, we would both sooner that we had not bothered going to the coast, but we did want to see what it was like, and we did. It's just the traffic was abominable. Yesterday we went to a town called Puck, and then we went along a very long peninsula at the very northern end of the coastline to a place called Hull. Yes, Puck and Hull. And that's what I thought about the traffic. Puck and Hull. Just my little joke there. It would, I think, have been far more productive to have just come inland in the first place from Gdansk. But we didn't know, so we didn't. But this is making up for everything. Long straight sections followed by sections of lovely little twisty bits like you've just seen. One problem I've had with this motorcycle as well is where to put the camera.